Meghan Markle's private letter to her dad, Thomas Markle, and Mail lawsuit highlight a cruel tabloid critic. Public opinion has never really been on Meghan Markle's side, but her estrangement from her dad has been the source of substantial and unfair judgment. When Prince Harry released a statement Tuesday announcing that he and his wife Meghan Markle were suing the Mail on Sunday over the publication of a private letter the Duchess of Sussex had sent to her estranged father, the British press was divided. While some journalist quarters have accused the prince of being sanctimonious and playing the victim card, others have defended the right of the Sussexes to protect their privacy. But whatever you think of the lawsuit, it's clear that public opinion has never really been on Meghan Markle's side. Indeed, ever since Harry and Meghan announced their engagement in November 2017, the American actress turned Duchess has faced a constant barrage of criticism in the British press and much from the British public. There have been stories about feuds with Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, reports of diva-like behavior in the run-up to her wedding, accusations of hypocrisy and profligacy. But it is the estrangement from her father, Thomas Markle, which has attracted much press attention and which has been the cause of substantial criticism toward her. Culturally, in the United Kingdom, the family is family refrain still has incredible potency. No matter how toxic the relationship or how damaged the parent, plenty of people still believe you should stick by your relatives, whatever the cost to your personal well-being. In a 2015 survey out of the Cambridge University, 68% of UK respondents said there was social stigma around family estrangement and they had felt judged for contradicting societal expectations after cutting off contact with a family member. Meghan's acrimonious relationship with her dad, as well as with other members of her wider family, is a public rift many British people find distasteful, as the commentary in many newspaper articles attest, not to mention social media. It is an affront to the so-called traditional family values and neglects the biblical commandment to honor thy father and thy mother. Indeed, in today's Daily Mail, Piers Morgan accuses Meghan and Harry of being heartless in the way they have banished Thomas Markle from their lives. Whatever the private context for the rift between Meghan and her father, and none of us know what the context is, it is invariably Meghan who bears the brunt of the blame. The specific criticism hits a very personal nerve with me. When I became estranged from my father 25 years ago, I was a recipient of similar judgmental attitudes. You only have one father, people used to tell me, as that perhaps I might have forgotten. It was in fact a truth of which I was painfully aware. I only have one father, and mine, an aggressive alcoholic, hadn't lived up to the task, as anyone who has ever become estranged from a family member knows, and there are statistically plenty of us out there. The decision is never taken lightly. To become estranged from a family member is like a slow, gradual death. It rarely happens overnight. It's very rarely the result of a single incident. More often, it's a build-up over time, often years, of toxic behavior until self-preservation demands you to distance yourself from it. For years, I thought I was unusual in having such a significant estrangement in my life, but when I started writing and researching a novel about family estrangement in which a mother is desperate to reunite her two adult daughters after 3 decades of a seemingly inexplicable rift, I learned I wasn't alone. Research from a UK charity suggested 19% of British adults are in families containing one or more estrangements. Across the pond, one US study found that 40% of participants had experienced family estrangement, while another discovered that 10% of American mothers are currently estranged from at least one adult child. And when my novel, If Only I Could Tell You, published in the UK earlier this year, I received hundreds of messages from readers telling me they would always felt ashamed and isolated by their own broken families. For most of us, these painful estrangements at least have benefit of taking place in private. Not so for Meghan Markle. For the past 2 years, she had her family conflicts displayed across the front pages of the newspapers, discussed on TV shows, and debated in magazines, all by people who actually know nothing about her situation. For anyone who has encountered dysfunctional family dynamics to have remained silent as Meghan has, to have resisted the temptation to tell her side of the story while others are selling theirs, display incredible self-restraint and remarkably dignity. There are, of course, other insidious forces at play regarding the criticism Meghan has faced. There is an undertone of racism to some of reporting fueled by the right-wing pockets of the UK society that resent a mixed-race women marrying into the royal family. Xenophobia has played a part too. The British do not, after all, have a great track record when it comes to welcoming Americans into our royalty, and there is undoubtedly a strong element of misogyny as well. The fact that Meghan has strong opinions and is not afraid to express them is unpalatable for some of the sections of the British establishment. You only have to look at the treatment of many female members of the Parliament, ranging from gross condescension to threats of violence, to know that in some areas of British life, strong, opinionated women are still deemed unacceptable, but it is her ongoing familial struggles which have proved clickbait for so many readers, and of which, of course, now the topic of such a high-profile legal battle. Over the years, I've learned to be robust in the face of others' criticism about my own estrangement, but I haven't had to watch it dissected by the world's media. Whether or not Meghan Markle wins her legal battle and the right to protect her privacy around such difficult relationships remain to be seen, but perhaps in the meantime the rest of us could offer a little less judgment and a lot more compassion. Meghan Markle has sported some gorgeous outfits and accessories during her 10-day tour of Africa, but a particular piece of jewelry has everyone's attention now. As we know it, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are taking legal action against a British tabloid for publishing a private letter written by Meghan, while Harry's announcement about his plans to wage a battle against the tabloid left everyone talking. The choice of jewelry sported by Meghan during the tour has got royal fans' attention. For their last outing in Africa as part of the royal tour, Meghan chose an unusual bracelet sold by El Madeira. The bracelet featured a tiny eye-shaped charm enclosed in a golden ring. While it might look like a mere piece of jewelry to fans, there is more meaning to the bracelet, the official website revealed. It is a charm to ward off any evil eye. The bracelet is described as an evil eye on your person wards off an evil eye or jealousy from others, such as are the ability to dispel negative thoughts and energy. E-News reports. The choice of jewelry is interesting, especially since Harry mentioned Meghan has become one of the latest victims of a British tabloid press that wages campaigns against individuals with no thought to the consequences, a ruthless campaign that has escalated over the past year throughout her pregnancy and while raising of a newborn son. Prince Harry is suing the owners of UK tabloid newspapers The Sun and the Daily Mirror for allegedly hacking his phone. A Buckingham Palace spokesperson confirmed the claims have been filed in court regarding the illegal interception of voicemail messages. The development comes just days after Harry launched a scathing attack on the UK tabloid media as his wife Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, sued the UK's Mail on Sunday, claiming that the paper illegally published a private letter to her father. A spokesperson for The Sun's parent company, Robert Murdoch-owned news group Newspapers NGN, told CNN, "We confirmed that a claim has been issued by the Duke of Sussex. We have no further comment to make at the current time." A source at Reach plc, the Mirror's parent company, said it was aware of the proceedings but had not yet received notification of them. It has not been established when the hacking allegations date from, but the new claims means both the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are pursuing active legal action against UK publishers. In an emotional statement issued earlier this week, Harry alleged the British tabloid press was waging a war against Meghan that mirrored the treatment meted out to his mother. Princess Diana died in 1997 when her car crashed as it was being chased by a paparazzi on a motorbike. The prince said he felt some reporting about his wife as bullying and that he feared history repeating itself, a reference to Diana, who is the target of intense media attention. "I've seen what happens when someone I love is commoditized to the point that they are no longer treated or seen as a real person. He said, "I lost my mother and now I watch my wife falling victim to the same powerful forces." He accused the Mail on Sunday of selectively editing the letter to disguise lies the paper had told about the Duchess, a claim that the tabloid specifically denies. The phone hacking scandal emerged in the UK in the early 2000s and led to the 2011 closure of the UK Sunday newspaper News of the World, published by News Group newspapers, and prompted criminal convictions. Journalists at British newspapers were accused of making payments to the police and hacking into the phones of celebrities, lawmakers, royalty, murder victims, and other figures in the news. Most cases involved the News of the World, but the Sun and Mirror Group publications have settled cases. Celebrities who have settled claims with the Mirror Group include actor Hugh Grant, while singer Elton John is among a number of stars to settle a claim against News Group newspapers. According to Hacked Off, the campaign group which represents a victim of phone hacking, the publishers involved in the scandal could face a total bill for phone hacking of up to £1 billion.